Congratulations, you're at the summary. You completed the course. And I know this course was a handful, even though it was an introduction course. Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. I mean, every single chapter is just loaded full of information. This is what makes this course a little bit challenging in the beginning, because every single chapter is just loaded with information, tons of information to really explain. And remember, the Think and Grow Rich, the book is really a spin-off of The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. And that book is about 600 pages. So Think and Grow Rich, again, was a condensed version of his 600-page Law of Success. So like when they condensed it, every single chapter is just full of knowledge. And again, that's what made this course, even for me to teach it, getting halfway through it, a little challenging, because I'm thinking to myself, what, this is a lot of information. This is a ton of information. So this is what I want you to do at this point. Continually reading Think and Grow Rich. Just like I said, you made it through the course once, but don't stop. Do the exercise that Napoleon Hill stated. Go back to those previous chapters that he instructed you to reread. Once you do that, start the book over again and read it from start to finish. Remember, he said he gave you a homework assignment, remember? 3 times, and you will not want to stop. So since the chapters are so condensed with information, again, it's not a book you just want to read 3 times and you think you mastered it and you have it on your bookshelf, or you give it away or sell it back to a bookstore or whatnot. This book is meant to study. Self-assessment, personal development is a lifestyle. You have to set aside time daily on your personal development. And this is what I do every single day. This is one of the books I've read. I've read this book, honestly. This is the only book I read for an entire year. I'm not lying. Only book. Once I finished it, I reread it. Once I finished it, I started again. And I read a chapter to 2 chapters every single day. So I would finish, if I read 2 chapters a day, I would finish the book in a week. I would read it 4 times a month. I just kept on dissecting it, doing a self-analysis on myself. And that's the same thing you have to do if you want results. Now, to continue on with the summary, I'm not going to do an ordinary summary like you think I'm going to do, which you're probably so excited. I'm not. I'm not going to go through every chapter and give you a summary of what we were talking about, because we really hit hard in these videos for instruction and really going in and diving into his teachings, what he meant by it, and mastery of the 13 principles. So I'm not going to do that. That's your homework also. If you need to come back and review things, that's on you, and that's your homework. Because it's not enough for me to do it, you have to do it. But what I am going to do, and what I want to talk about here for a couple minutes, might be a few minutes, I'm not too sure, because we haven't started yet, is the fact that in every single chapter, remember, let me put the book down, and I'll pick up a highlighter. In every single chapter, what was Napoleon Hill telling us to do? Telling you to do, telling myself to do. It's about mastery. It's about mastering on all the principles to achieve success, to achieve what you want. Now, he uses the word riches throughout the whole book, and even when you wrote your goal, he encourages you to write how much you want to make, how much you want. But riches is a broad term, remember. It can be used, these exercises, these principles can be used for anything you want to achieve. Remember that. But this is where I want the summary to go. It's about mastery of the 13 principles. And I think this is very important. They're very important to comprehend and understand. And I wrote, each of the 13 principles. And let's go through them. Very broad. Principle 1, desire. Have an intense desire. Know what you want. In the introduction, remember, he said, before desire have a definite purpose, and be persistent on carrying it out. Then it went to principle 1, and he said, have an intense desire, know what you want and stand behind it and be persistent, be definite. Principle 2, have faith. Now remember, faith is what? Another word for faith is belief. Another word for belief is what? You expect it. And I'll grab another color here, because I like different colors. Another word for expect, you guessed it, is you demand it. Principle 3 is auto-suggestion. What is auto-suggestion again? Do you remember? Auto-suggestion is, I don't have room to write, but is your affirmations, your repetitive affirmations you tell yourself over and over and over again. See, you're telling yourself every day stuff over and over and over again. It's either positive or negative. Makes sense? You're doing it already. You might as well control it. So that's what Napoleon Hill is saying near the end. Remember, it's about controlling what you're doing. Principle 4, specialized knowledge. And in this chapter, he goes into generalized knowledge, what we learn from education, from our 5 senses, but he talks about specialized knowledge. Principle 5 is imagination. Here, for the imagination, he's talking about creative imagination. Remember, he had 2 forms of imagination. He had synthetic imagination and creative imagination. And the creative imagination is what he spent all his time on, but that's what influences our subconscious mind. Principle 6, organized planning. You have to have organized and definite plans to carry out your goal, to carry out what you want, to carry out your action. Principle 7, decision. You have to be decisive, know what you want, make a decision. Remember in this chapter he points out, but he said Ford had a he had a good reputation, but in part of his reputation, people thought he was hard. He didn't listen because he was what? Quick at making decisions, but very, very, very slowly at changing his decisions. That's what made him a very wealthy man. He made a decision quick, but changed it very, very, very slowly. Principle 8, it's persistence. Now persistence takes us way back to the introduction because we hit the persistence in an introduction. It's having a definite purpose and being persistent. And we talked about persistence almost in every single chapter, right in the introduction, persistence and stopping 3 feet from gold, and the example of the 50-cent lesson in persistence. Both of them were the great examples in persistence. Be persistent, don't stop. See, the greatest enemy of persistence is immediate gratification. We want it now. We want results now. The issue is, this is what we're doing. We don't get it now, we quit, we jump to another routine, we jump to another health program, we jump to another exercise routine, we jump to another book or whatnot, but we're not getting no results. And we're not getting no results is simple that we're not persistent. Continue. Principle 9 is mastermind, is developing a mastermind group, developing core group that you go to. Remember, it's protected. You don't let everybody inside your mastermind group. Principle 10 is sex transmutation. Now this can be broadly used as learning how to transmute different energies into what you want to achieve to your goal. But Napoleon Hill uses sex because sex is at the top of the list. Because remember when he describes sex or sexual desire, is that our creative imagination is at its peak. We're vibrating at our peak state, which influences the subconscious mind. But what he's saying is you take that desire and you transmute it. You move it into helping you achieve your goal. That same intensity, that same vibration. You switch it. Principle 11, your subconscious mind. We've been dealing with a subconscious mind in every single chapter, every single principle. Principle 12, the brain, which really goes along with our subconscious mind. Our brain is the giving and receiving station of thought. Principle 13. And Principle 13 is a special one because this one, what did Napoleon Hill tell you? He added it because he wanted to give people a complete success formula, and he didn't want to leave it out. But now, what did Napoleon Hill teach us about the sixth sense? Do you remember? Do you remember the crucial point with the sixth sense? To be able to understand and interpret and develop our own sixth sense. What did he say? Very crucial. He said, in order to understand the sixth sense, we must, what? Master all the other 12 principles before we must even understand and deeply understand the sixth sense. And to even go on and say we've mastered the sixth sense. See, if you think you master the sixth sense, but you're weak at something else, it's not mastery. You have to do a little bit more digging, self-analysis within yourself. Now, the sixth sense, again, I stayed directly with what Napoleon Hill was teaching. I didn't go off chapter as much because I knew this is something that's going to be brought up into other courses, and we're going to dig deeper with all these principles. All these principles are going to be in other courses in different scenarios to help you dig deeper and apply them to your life. One of the things I'd like to point out to you, remember, it's about mastery. Now, the main issue that I see when people look at something like this, or an example of something like this, and they say, okay, these are 13 steps to develop my success. These are 13 steps I need to master to achieve a success in my life, or to achieve anything I want in my life. But what do most people do? Remember what I said? Most people like to pick and choose. We're teaching you on the whole piece of the pie, and that's what Napoleon Hill is doing in Think and Grow Rich. He's teaching you about all the steps to success because he knew. See, he knew because he was applied all these applications to himself. He knew if you did not master every single thing, you're not going to achieve the level of success that you deserve. You're not going to achieve the level of success that you want. But this is the greatest sin, the greatest mistake people make. They want to pick and choose, and they think they can still get success, but they cannot. Because what we have to understand is each principle runs off from one another. They connect to each other. Make sense? Just like if I sat here and I just did a connection between all of them right here. They're all connected. All of them. A lot of them are interconnected and intertwined. They all intertwine between each other. So once you take out one, it cripples all the rest. Does that make sense? I'll say that again. Once you take out one, you cripple all the rest of them. It doesn't work, but they're all intertwined between each other. I mean, one principle needs the other principle. Does that make sense? But what do people do? This is what people do. They say, okay, I get desire. I have desire. I mean, I like number 1. I like number 4. I like number 5. I like 7. I don't know about 8. I don't really care for 8. I don't like 10. I don't even get it. I don't like 13, but I'll do all the others. See, it's not going to work. Make sense? It's not, because you're crippling all the other areas. See, this is what we have to look at it as, and this is a good exercise. If we go down here and we think, okay, I get desire, I get faith. This auto-suggestion thing, is hocus pocus thing, I don't get, and I'm just going to erase it. So if I take out auto-suggestion, is what? Self-suggestion. What is self-suggestion? It's affirmations and repetition, which we're doing all day long if we know it or not. But if I take that out, what does that do to all the rest of the steps? Make sense? I mean, right now, just outward, looking at it, it would it would hinder the imagination, your creative imagination. Because now you're thinking, but you're thinking to yourself, so you're saying you don't get it, it doesn't exist, so imagination won't exist. Your specialized knowledge wouldn't exist because you need ideas to do whatever you want, to achieve whatever you want. Does that make sense? And it goes down, it just keeps on going down. So it starts hitting and interrupting all the other ones. Then it gets worse because people just don't stop there. They think, oh, I don't believe in autosuggestion. So I'm gonna come down here and imagination, I get imagination, but I'm an adult. So this creative synthetic imagination. So we start saying, okay. Then we keep on going. It's an organized plan. I learned that in college. So I get it. I'm a planner. Decision. I'm a decisive, persistent. I stay persistent. Mastermind. Okay, because maybe they believe or don't believe they need mentors. So they think mastermind. Or they think they know it all. That's a whole nother issue. So we erase mastermind. Then they come down to principle 10, that's sex transmutation. What the world is he talking about? He must be cuckoo. So we erase this one. Subconscious mind, the brain, we start kind of getting, okay, maybe I can, get it. So we leave then. The sixth sense, sixth sense, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in God. I don't believe I believe there's laws of the universe, but so then we start deleting what? The sixth sense. You see, this example is what we do in life. We pick and choose. We pick and choose what we like and don't like. See, it's fine when we're talking about health and food to pick and choose what we like and don't like, to pick and choose a mate, a boyfriend, girlfriend, a husband, wife. See, in some circumstances, we can pick and choose. But see, what happens is we want to pick and choose in every single situation. And with personal development, the laws of success, the laws of the universe, you see, the laws are working for you or against you, no matter if you know it or not, no matter if you're aware of it or not, no matter if you believe it or not. See, same way with the laws of success. To be able to succeed, there are certain laws you have to follow. There's certain principles you have to follow. And those principles work off from one another. This is exactly what people do. Exactly maybe what you do. Being in your face a little bit again. You see, once we start taking out things, I've removed 1, 2, 3, 4 things out of the 13. Once we start removing things, everything else begins to cripple. Everything else begins to shut down. And sooner or later, this is what really happens. Nothing is there. Because you took out components that needed to be there. The other principles that need to work off of each other. They're all intertwined between each other. So once you take them out, you take out a few, you took out all of them. And this is why most people do not achieve the level of success that they want in their life. They don't achieve what they really want in their life. Goals. They don't achieve them because they're picking and choosing. They don't realize the depth of picking and choosing does to these principles. It erases all of them. And at this point, when it erases all of them, your mind's following the laws of the universe, following the principles, if you're aware of it or not. What happens? Well, when we look at the mind is wide open. Wide open for everything taken in. Our thoughts, other people's opinions, the 5 senses. It's just wide open because you're not controlling it. Remember what Napoleon Hill says, your mind either controls you or you control it. Either you control your mind or the mind controls you. So I think it's very important to say that most people want to be in control. You yourself want to be in control. You yourself want to be in control of your dreams, control of your goals, control of your wants. But what we have to control is what? We have to control our thoughts. Because the Think and Grow Rich, remember, it's about thinking into results. It's about thinking into riches of your life. It's about thinking and achieving your goals, thinking and achieving the life of your dreams, thinking and achieving. It's thinking. It's your thought life. We have to control our thoughts to get what? To get results. The results that we want. We all want different things. See, that's the miraculous thing. You don't want the same thing that I want. You don't want to live the same lifestyle that I want. You don't want the same car that I want, the same house that I want. We all want different things. We all want different things as a job and a career. We all want to do different things. But when it comes down to bare essentials, we all really want the same thing. We want results for our life. We want to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. We want to live a lifestyle exactly how we want to live. Don't stop studying. Don't stop learning. And I'll see you more inside this membership. Hang on to the wheel because results are coming your way.